Fall crafting can be so much fun even if you don't have a Cricut. Today we are going to be using products from one particular company that has all the stencils you need for these types of projects. Hi, I'm Sarah. Let's get crafting. Today we will be using these mesh stencil packs that I just love, and I get all of my stencils from a maker's studio. They have so many different self-adhesive mesh stencils to pick from that sometimes it's hard just choosing one pack, which is why I'm glad they come with so many different designs on one sheet. Today I'm going to be starting with this little soup bowl that I found at Walmart in their dollar spot. It was about $3 and I thought this would be perfect for fall. At a maker's studio, they have so many different products that you can use on different surfaces. And today for this one, I am going to be using their ceramic paint. This stuff can be used on many different hard surfaces like ceramics and glass and tile and all sorts of different things. And it is a no-bake ceramic paint. So if it's something that you're going to be using and not really anything that you'll be washing very often, there's no need to bake this paint on. Now you can bake it, and if it is on something that I would be using a lot, I would probably bake it anyways, just to be on the safe side. But with these, you don't have to do that. I'm going to be pulling out these mesh stencils, and typically I would use these lines here to go ahead and cut out the ones that I want to use. But for today, I'm going to leave it all together in one pack, and we will just work with it this way. Typically, I would cut them all apart and just keep them in a folder to keep them all together. But here we are going to get our soup bowl ready, and I just use my burnishing tool to keep this down even. Every time I have a flat, hard surface, I clean it off with rubbing alcohol first, just to get any dust particles or fingerprints off of it. It's always good just to start with a nice clean surface. For my first stencil, I will be using the one that says Happy Pumpkin Spice Season on it. And when I do not cut these stencils apart, I find that it's easier just to lay it on the backing again with just the part you want hanging over the edge, just because these are super sticky, you guys, and it will stick to anything it touches. So if you're having a hard time, just go ahead and cut these apart. That's, like I said, what I would normally do. But here I am just going to be rubbing these down now, because it's a mesh stencil, and really any stencil, you really want the thing laying as tight as possible up against your surface. So go ahead and rub this stencil down all over really, really good to make it stick so you don't get any bleeding underneath your stencil. This color that I'm using first here is Dark Chocolate Latte. I thought this color was perfect for fall. And here I'm just going to be applying a little bit at a time onto my squeegee. If you don't have a squeegee, that's okay. Just go grab an old gift card or an old debit card, and that works just as good. With mesh stencils, you also want to remember that you need to be pressing this paint through the mesh stencil. It's not like you're painting it on, or like typical stencils you would be doing what's called stippling it on. You really need to just press this right through that mesh and then pull off any excess that you have. If you're afraid that you might go over the areas that you want on here, go ahead and use some painter's tape and tape off your edges, and then slowly peel this off. As you can see, that leaves you with some really nice crisp lines. I'm going to be flipping this over now, and using the same stencil, I'm going to be adding some of the pumpkins to the other side, and I'll be using the same color paint on this one. I'm going to fast forward through this just so you can see it's all the same process. And like I said, it's super sticky. This stuff was sticking to everything. But after I get it in place, I'm going to be pressing this down again really, really well. and then taking that same dark chocolate latte paint that I used before and pressing this through the stencil. In between these layers of painting different parts of the stencil, I am taking this stencil and putting it in a bowl of water. With this ceramic paint especially, you want to make sure you wash off this stencil as soon as you're finished with it. So I will usually take it and dump it in a bowl of water, and then I will let the blank that I'm using to put this on, I will let that air dry. But after I'm done washing off the stencil, I will sometimes just take a hair dryer to it and dry the stencil really well so that I can move on to a different project while I wait for one other one to dry. So now moving on, I am going to just do the other pumpkin on this side, and again pulling off as much of the excess paint, peeling this off carefully from the corner, and then it goes straight into a bowl of water. And here you go, this one is finished. I think this turned out really well. I love how this paint works with these stencils, and this is just a fun little piece that you can use for display, or you could use it for your soup or whatever you want to use it for. Next up, I have this cutting board that I believe I picked up at the Dollar Tree a while ago. It was in a pack of 2, and I am going to be using the stencil on here that says pumpkins and bonfires. I thought that was kind of a fun little saying, and again the process is the same. I try to center this the best that I can. Again, if these were cut apart, that would be a little bit easier, but after a few tries I get it where I think I would like it, and I'm going to be rubbing this down at the best that I can so that we don't get any bleeding through. Now I'm going to be using some of their chalk paste, which I love this stuff. They have so many different colors, and today I'm going to be using this orange one that's called Snug as a Bug, and then I also have a brown that's Slow as Molasses, and I also have a green one over to the side called Boxwood Topiary. And with this stuff, it works the same as the ceramic paint. Okay, you're gonna put a little bit on your squeegee and press it through the mesh stencil. Now again, because I'm using different colors on this one, feel free to tape off any of the areas that you don't want to accidentally get this chalk paste on, but you're just gonna press this through. Now I will tell you, with all of these products that you press through the stencil, the harder you press, the darker your lines will be. And if you want more of a distressed look, then you just press it through a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up these words with the chalk paste. Now, because this stuff is washable, you can actually wash these off of some different surfaces, not really off the wood, but this stuff washes off of the mesh stencil a little bit easier, so it's not as super important to pop it in the water right away. As you can see, I'm using different colors on this one, so it's taking me a little bit longer, but this will wash out a little bit easier, as the ceramic and the art ink that they also have is more important to get that in water right away. But I have found that a little soapy water and a toothbrush helps get out most of the product from these mesh stencils. When I am done with these two colors and I peel this off, I decided that it needed a little bit extra on the bottom, so I'm going to take that green boxwood color and one of the leafy vine decals and put that on the bottom here. And it just adds a little bit extra to this piece. After letting this chalk paste dry really well, I decided to go ahead and grab some ribbon, and I'm not sure where I got this from. I've had this ribbon for a really long time, but this pumpkin garland I picked up at the Dollar Tree. They have so much stuff out this year for fall decorations. I was really surprised. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off one of these tin pumpkins to use just to dress this up a little bit. So here I'm just going to be trimming down the ribbon and hot gluing this into place. And then I'll be using my silicone brush just to kind of push that down so I don't burn my fingers. This glue is super hot, and this just helps keep my fingers from not burning. And then I'm going to cut this piece off of here, and I really should go back to the Dollar Tree and see if they have more of this garland now that I'm chopping it to pieces. But again, I'm going to grab my hot glue and stick this down, and it just adds a little bit extra to this cutting board, and I think it just adds just enough to it to dress it up. And then this one is complete. Next here I have this Chalkboard House that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, along with some of these fall bows that I also found this year at the Dollar Tree. Like I said, they have a ton of stuff there this year. I was really impressed actually with all the different things they had. And I'm going to go ahead and use the chalk paste on this chalkboard, because this is something that you could reuse over and over again. So like I said before, the chalk paste you can wash off of certain surfaces, and these chalkboard pieces I like to reuse, so I can just use different holidays and different themes on these boards, and I don't have to stockpile them and try to store so many. So I am going to kind of speed through this process as it is the same as before. Again, tape off what you need to if you feel like you might get this chalk paste in areas that you don't want it, but I feel pretty confident that I can do this without that. And again, you can wash this stuff off, so if you make a mistake, you just wash it and start over again. If you guys are new here, go ahead and hit that like button if you're getting value out of today's tutorial on these stencils and how to use them. And go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am also going to be doing a tutorial on how to use these same stencils from a maker's studio and how to make t-shirts using these things. It's super easy and you're not going to want to miss that. So hit that notification bell. And thanks for being here. Now I'm going to take this bow here, and it's obviously too big, so I'm going to trim off these tails. And because I do want to reuse this, I thought I would just use some double-sided tape to hold this on. But after I had that on for a while, it just was not holding. But I really wanted to be able to take this off and change it out for Christmas. So I ended up putting the double-sided tape on both the house frame and the bow, and then I hot glued between it, because the hot glue you can just peel it off, but it's strong enough to hold everything in place. So you might want to think about how to attach this if you do want to reuse it and change it out for different seasons. But for this one, that was all it took to dress this up for a fun little fall decor. And you could make it permanent and hot glue that bow on there, or use some E6000 and give it as a gift, or if you have any fall parties to go to, it would be a nice little gift for your host. Now moving on, this is like a trivet, not a trivet, a pedestal of some sort. I picked this up at Walmart as well from their dollar spot. I didn't even know Walmart had a dollar spot, but there it was. So I picked up one of these and decided to use the Be Grateful stencil on the front of this. And then we are going to get into some fun dressing up and decorating on the top of here. With this, I am using the ceramic paint, and I will not be baking it because I won't be washing this or running it through the dishwasher or anything like that. So I'm going to take this orange color. This color is called Hot and Spicy, and this is perfect for fall. It's just a nice bright pumpkin orange, and I'll be pushing this through that mesh like we've done before, and then putting this stencil straight into the water. Now I'm only doing one side of this, and I could have used this just as like a candle holder or like putting a vase on there, but like I said, the Dollar Tree had so many different things this fall. I seriously left with like a cart full. Probably didn't help my kids were throwing things in too, but look at all these different textured pumpkins. They had leather, they had burlap, they had sweater material, which was really cool. And then I found all these different little acorns and little bales of hay. So I'm just gonna play around with this stuff and rearrange it on here. I'm using hot glue to attach all of it, and you can just see how you can get so creative with adding whatever it is that you want until it looks the way you want it to look. This is how I did it. This is what worked for me. My mom saw this when I was done with it and immediately thought this would be perfect in her house, so she will most likely get this before fall so she can decorate in her living room or wherever she chooses to put this. But I'm just going to speed through how this was all placed down. Like I said, I used hot glue, and then my super handy silicone brush helps to just push everything down in place without burning my little fingers. What is your favorite holiday or season to decorate for? Do you make a lot of specific crafts for your decorations for holidays? Put it down in the comments. I just am curious. What is your favorite season or holiday? I really enjoy decorating for fall. Summer is my favorite season though. I am a hot-weathered girl. I love to go to the beach and just be outside. And I'm in the Midwest, so we don't have a lot of summer time necessarily, and winter comes way too fast and lasts way too long. So I embrace fall as well because it's not winter. But let me know down below, what is your favorite time to decorate for? And this one is all done. I don't know, what do you guys think? I really like the way it turned out, and I know my mom already really wants to have this. Moving on, we are going to grab this mason jar glass looking mug from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using the stencil up here on the top that says I'm here for the pumpkin spice, but I'm only going to be using the pumpkin spice part of this stencil. That's the other great thing about these. You can mix and match them, and you don't have to use the stencil necessarily as is. I sometimes will use one word from one, and then when that's dry, I'll use a part from a different one. And there really is a lot of different ways you can use this. They're so versatile. I'll be sure to leave their website down below so that you can find it. And you'll have to go check out their other fall stencil packs that they have available. This is just one of many, and their Christmas ones are pretty amazing too. So I might have to get some more of those this year. But I'm going to put that in the water and then let this dry, and I am going to be putting some random pumpkins around the sides here. And with this one, I probably will bake it. Now, like I said, the ceramic paint you do not have to bake, but you can if you want to. And if it's ever an option that you can do something to just seal it or secure it a little bit better, I usually just go ahead and do that, because why not? That's just a little added protection, I think, and I will be popping this in the oven as per the directions on the back. And then that is it for this one. Nothing fancy, but it's kind of fun, and I'm sure my kids will love to drink out of these mugs this fall with their apple cider and all those different fall drinks that they love. Now here I have this jar hanging thing that I got from the Dollar Tree. I think it's supposed to be used for candles, and that's what I'm going to be using it for here today. I'm going to be taking this stencil, and I laid the stencil down on the table sticky side up so I could even this out the best that I could. This stuff, like I said before, is super sticky, and I was having a hard time on this very curved surface to get this stencil just to lay where I wanted it. I'm going to be using the chalk paste on this one in the 2 different colors, because this way I can also wash it off after fall and change it out for a Christmas themed candle holder. Now that this is dry, I grabbed some of these little sunflowers from the Dollar Tree that I thought I would maybe stick on here and decided not to. But there's so many different things you can do with this now. So you could put like stones or rocks in the bottom and put in a real tea light, or like I'm doing here, I'm using some of these beads from that strand of garland that I already cut apart for a previous project. And I'm going to slide in some of these. And then I have this little battery operated candle that I will be putting in the bottom of here. I don't really burn a lot of candles, so this is what I had. But there's all sorts of options you can do here for putting in the bottom. And then again, like I said, you can change this out for different seasons and holidays if you want. This little tin popped right off from the other side of it, so I'm going to put that in the bottom here and put my candle in. And then that is it for this one. Again, you could do so many different things with this little hanging tea light holder, and it's just a fun little decoration to add to the house for the fall holiday season. So let me know down below what has been your favorite project today, and I will see you next time.